So this is the first video of 11th chapter, performance of contracts. Today we are going to discuss about what is meant by performance of contract, what are the different types of performance, and what are the essentials of a valid tender, and then who may perform the contract, then who can demand the performance of contract. The term performance means it is a usual mode of discharge of a contract. If the parties to a contract have done what they had undertaken to do as per the terms of the contract, they become free from further liability. So performance of contract takes place when parties to a contract fulfill their obligations. Section 37 of the Contract Act lays down that the parties to a contract must either perform or offer to perform their respective promises unless such performance is dispensed with or excused under the provisions of this act or any other law. That means contracting parties are bound to perform their respective obligations unless the performance is dispensed with or excused under the provisions of act. So if any promise is made, they have to perform that promise. Non-performance will amount to breach of contract. If if one party is not performing their promise, one party is not performing, then it will lead to breach of contract. Performance of contract simply means discharge of a contract or doing the obligations. Then what are the different types of performance? There are mainly two types of performance. The very first one is actual performance. A party to a contract is said to have actually performed his promise when he has done what he had undertaken to do. When one party is finished his obligations, then that's called the actual performance. In other words, he must have fulfilled all his obligations under the contract. So a contract imposes some responsibilities and obligations. When both parties have actually performed their respective obligations or promises, then that contract is said to be terminated or discharged. For example, A agrees to purchase B scooter for 20,000, for which price B also agrees. So B hands over the scooter with its all keys and relevant papers to A. So this is an act of performance on the part of B. Then A pays the 20,000 to B. So this is an act of performance on the part of A. So here both the parties have actually performed their obligations. That's called the actual performance. So under what is actual performance? Actual performance, both the parties have actually performed their promise or their respective obligations. Then that's called actual performance. Then what is attempted performance or otherwise called tender? Where a promiser has made an offer of performance to the promisee and the offer has not been accepted by the promisee, it's called attempted offer. Attempted offer means, which is otherwise called a tender. Here the promiser has offered to fulfill his obligation under the contract. So the performance is not complete unless the offer of performance is accepted by the promisee. So there's a question of tender usually arises when the performance of promise by one party is prevented by the act of the other party for whose benefit is to take place. Simply, yes, we can go through an example. A promises to deliver 100 bags of wheat to B. A is promising to deliver 100 bags of wheat to B. A sends them to B at the appointed place during the business hours through the specified carrier, but B refuses to take delivery of the bags. So this is an attempted performance or tender on the part of A. A is performed whatever he is required to perform, but the promisee is not accepting. That's called attempted performance or tender. So there are mainly two types of performance: attempted performance and actual performance. Attempted performance, where promiser has made an uh, offer of performance to the promisee, and the offer has not been accepted by the promisee. That's called attempted performance. And actual performance, where both the parties have fulfilled their respective obligations. Then what are the different types of attempted performance? Means a tender or attempted performance is classified into two types. One is tender of goods or services. Tender of goods and services means where the attempted involves the supply of goods or service. It's called a tender of goods. In this case, a tender to perform a promise to do something. Uh, and in that case, the promiser may treat the refusal of the promisee as the repudiation of the contract, so he can act accordingly. That means he will be released from his obligations to perform, or he can file a suit against such a repudiation. If the contract is for supply of goods and services, it's called a tender of goods. Attempted for where the attempted involves the supply. Attempted offer involves the supply of goods and services. The next one is tender of money. Tender of money means if the attempted performance is for the payment of money, then it's called a tender of money. That means the debtor or the promiser makes a valid tender when he offers to pay the amount to the creditor in the legal tender money for the amount due at the proper time and place as per the terms of contract. That's called a tender of money. So tender of goods and service means where the attempted offer is for goods and services. Tender of money means attempted offer for money. Here, promiser makes a valid offer when he offers to pay the amount to the creditor in the legal tender money for the exact amount due at the proper time and place as per the terms of the contract. But if the creditor refuses to accept that amount, accept that money, it does not give any right to debtor to release himself from making payment to the debt to the creditor. That means tender of money does not amount to discharge of the contract. One person, debtor, is ready to give money to the creditor, and if creditor is not accepting, that does not amount to discharge of the debt. Then what are the essentials of a valid tender? It must be unconditional. It must be made at proper time and place. It should be in respect of the whole obligation. It must be in the proper form. It must be made at the proper person. Reasonable opportunity to inspect. And the last one, the person making a tender must be able and willing to perform his obligation. We're going to study the essentials of a valid tender in detail. The very first one, it must be unconditional. A tender becomes conditional if it is not in accordance with the terms of contract. Where a tender or offer is conditional, the other party is under no obligation to accept it. So let me explain through an example. A offered to deliver 250 bags of rice to B. If B sell his car to A. A is ready to deliver 250 bags of rice to B if B sells his car to A. So it's a conditional tender, hence it is invalid. If a tender becomes conditional, then the other party is under no obligation to accept it. So it should be unconditional. For a valid tender, it should be unconditional. Second feature is that, second essential point is that it should be in respect of the whole obligation. To be a valid offer, it must be made for the whole obligation and not for a part of the whole obligation. That means minor deviations from the terms of contract may not render the tender invalid. Minor deviations can be seen. For example, A agreed with B to sell 510 bags of rice. A agreed to agreed with B to sell 510 bags of rice. But A delivered only 500 bags of rice. So there is a small deviation only. It is a valid contract because minor deviations from the contract may not render the tender invalid. But if A delivers 600 bags of rice to B, then it's called a invalid tender because it should be in respect of the whole obligation. Then it must be made at proper time and place. Usually the contract makes a mention of the time and place of performance. In such case, the offer of performance should be made at the time and place stipulated, and if nothing is mentioned, it should be made at the proper time and place. What is proper time and place? It is a question of fact. It depends upon the circumstances. Then it must be in the proper form. For a valid tender, the offer to perform must be in the form mentioned in the contract or in the reasonable form and custom usually followed. Then there should be a reasonable opportunity to inspect. In almost all contracts or all performances, the party have the right to inspect the property. So same rule is applicable in the case of tender also. Then it must be made to a proper person. And the last one, the person making a tender must be able and willing to perform his obligation. The person who is making an offer of performance must be in a position to perform his promise and must be willing to do so. So these are the essentials. Seven essentials of a valid tender. Who may perform the contract? So the contract can be performed by the following persons. The very first one is promisor. So section 40 of the Contract Act says that from the nature of the contract, if it appears that it was the intention of the parties that any promise should be performed by the promisor himself, such promise should be performed by the promisor. It must be performed by the promisor. Contracts involving personal skill or those depending upon the personal trust and confidence, it should be performed by the promisor himself. For example, promise to marry, it should be performed by the promisor. Then promise to sing or promise to write books, promise to paint a picture. It involves some personal skill. So it must be performed by the promisor itself. Then legal representative can also perform if the contract does not involve any personal skill or those not depending upon the personal trust and confidence. It can be performed by the legal representatives after the death of promisor. Then promisor's agent. Where the personal skill of the promisor is not involved in the performance of the contract, the promisor's representative or agent can also perform that contract. Then third person. A contract can be performed by third party if the promisee accepts that. If promisee is ready to accept that fact, the contract is not going to perform by the promisor, it is going to be performed by the third person, then it can be allowed. Then joint promisors can also perform the contract. In case of several promisors, all the promisors jointly can perform. Then representative of the deceased promisor jointly with the surviving promisor in case of death, and representatives of all of them jointly in case of death of all joint promisors. So these are the persons who can perform the contract: promisor, legal representative, promisor's agent, third person, and joint promisors. Then who can demand performance of a contract? The very first person is promisee. A promisee can only demand the performance of promise under a contract. Example, A promises to A promised B to pay rupees 10,000 to C. It's only B who can demand the performance and not C, because it's a contract between A and B. Then legal representatives. In case of death of the promisee, his legal representatives can demand the performance. Then third party. In certain cases, third person who is not a party to the contract can also demand performance. For example, if the beneficiary in case of trust can demand the performance of the contract. Then joint promises. In case of several promises, unless a contrary intention appears, the performance can be demanded by the joint promises. All the promises jointly can perform. Then representative of deceased promisee, then representative all of them jointly in case of death.